All right, guys, joining me on oral sessions, none other than CMFT, bitches. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Great. I'm so glad that we were able to do this and get together because I was like, you like send out like that creepy DM where I'm like, do you want to like come on my podcast? And then like,
Right? Yeah.
we're actually able to connect. So this is very, very cool.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and you're in the middle of tour. How is
I
tour
am.
going?
Tour's great. The shows have been great. Um, this is actually I think this is the third iteration of our Not Fest Roadshow.
Mhm.
So it's us and three other bands. We have Code Orange, Fever 333,
Code
and
Orange
Kill
that does
Switch
Bray
Engage.
Wyatt's music, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
very lovely human beings they are.
Oh, great dudes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're super cool. All the bands have been, even Kill Switch Engage, we've known for years. All the bands are super rad, and so stoked to be back out on the road.
Oh
You know,
my
like we're
God,
just,
I bet.
and we have such stringent restrictions that they're like everybody's really, really happy about it. Like we're doing our best to kind of set the standard so other bands, other tours can kind of come around and follow the example.
What does that mean? What are you guys doing?
It means we are playing basically Live Nation only venues, which
Mhm.
require all staff to be vaccinated. Um, it also means that at the gigs, you can either show a vaccination card or a negative test
Uh-huh.
to come in. And it basically means that you're masked at all times backstage. If someone pops positive, they are quarantined and they stay behind.
Oh man, that would
The
suck.
tour.
Hey, just
It
be
would,
stuck
yeah.
somewhere in a hotel room. That would stink.
We've only had two outside crew people test positive. And we have been lucky enough to once that happened, we have tested every day, all the crews of all the bands, all the bands of all the bands, all the bus drivers, everyone, to make sure that we're all negative. So
Mhm.
it's an arduous process, but it's a necessary process to make
Yeah.
sure that we can keep this machine on the road. It's very much like, a traveling international wrestling promotion. There are so
Yeah.
many moving parts. There are so many people and so many different, positions that you don't even realize that you can trace back contact with one of them through like six other
Whoa.
people. And you just never know. Like
Yeah.
one person on the outside gets it, they have contact with three people who are close to you,
Mhm.
boom, you're exposed. And so it's a juggling act, like trying to
Yeah.
make sure that we keep it in check.
It's super tough. I remember that happening when I was at WWE when they
Right.
started, as they were trying to keep the shows up and running and it was like, "Oh shit, we had talent from NXT surrounding the ring and one of those people had tested positive and it was just this like
Yeah.
dominoes effect." But yeah, I mean tracing it back, at least you guys are doing the best that you can.
Yeah.
How was
Yeah.
that first show back?
With Slipknot, it was rad, man. Like it was because we hadn't played a show together. I had done the CMFT stuff, here and there.
Uh-huh.
But it's such a different beast than
Yeah.
Slipknot. Slipknot is like Cirque du Soleil and MMA all kind of like squashed
Yeah.
together into one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we hadn't seen each other in a while, so we only saw each other really for the three rehearsals that we did before the first show back, and we hadn't played a show in over 500 days.
Oh my God.
So we got on stage and we were feeling good, and then the audience popped and we all lost our minds and started running like full speed like we were in our 20s again, and quickly realized that we're all almost 50. And it was like
Yeah.
it hit us hard. Me and Jim were backstage leaning up like
Get me that Mick Jagger oxygen tank.
are we at altitude? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
It was real, man.
Oh
But it
my
was so it
God.
was so rad though. And then every show after that just got better and better. We just got our stage legs back, and it was great. The audience
Yeah.
was so ready for it that we could have played, hot cross buns, and they would have loved it, you
I
know.
could do that on recorder if you guys need backup.
So
I'm
can
just
I.
letting you
We'll
know.
we'll
There.
harmonize. We'll do it. I mean, we'll do the thing. We're gonna do this
Perfect.
thing.
The only musical talent I have is playing hot cross buns on a recorder. So
There you
done. We're
go.
there. Um, I hear that you guys might have some new music coming out soon.
Yeah, we might. We might.
Little something, something.
Yeah. We. I'm not gonna say when, but we
Okay.
definitely have new things, new fun, new. It's yeah. It's really really good. The stuff that we've been working on. And it's just the precursor to new album to come out next year. So
Awesome.
we're still finishing that off. It's kind of been piecemeal because we've been kind of spread across across the country, and luckily because of technology and whatnot, we can do that now where the majority of the band can record in LA, and then they just fly the session over to Vegas where I do my vocals and whatnot, just to
Where
kind
do
of
you
keep
record that in Vegas? Do you just do it out of your house?
at
Do
the
you have like a setup?
Hideout.
Oh,
There's a place called the Hideout.
uh-huh.
It's owned by Kevin Churko, and that's where I did my CMFT album. That's where I go to do a lot of the musical stuff that I do, especially if I'm doing like a guest spot with anybody. I can just run down there. I have a great relationship. It's amazing, state of the art studio. The people there are great. It's the Churko family actually own it, run it, and it's really really rad.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so you're on tour. The world is, sort of back up and running. How
Yeah,
different? Yeah, it's sort of kind of in little
yeah,
little baby steps, kind of
right,
getting there. It's starting to feel a little bit more normal.
right.
How different is it being on the road with Slipknot as opposed to being on tour with your CMFT?
Well, it's essentially the same. The great thing is that the guys in Slipknot, man, we're all getting along really well. Which,
Good.
we have kind of a turbulent relationship. That's part of that tension is why we've always made great music, but at the same time, there's so many different people, so many different personalities, and just dealing with different mental weirdness. We all have it. So sometimes it's difficult to, the only time we would ever really feel like we were on the same page is when we were on stage,
Mm,
and luckily that was enough to kind of, get us to bond. But I think this break actually, in something being vehemently pulled away from us that was out of our control, has really made us realize that maybe we were taking it for granted. So we've all really reconnected on a like a very personal level, and
yeah.
it's actually been a pleasure to go to work again, man. It was rad.
Yeah.
So we're all joking around and stuff like we used to do back in the day, and we're all stoked for the shows. We're all stoked for the album, and so that in a way is very similar to the way it is with CMFT, because CMFT, these are guys that I've known for 20 plus years. I've done side stuff with them. Tooch was in Stone Sour with me for a minute. I've done music with all of these dudes, and it was just one of those things where if I was going to put a solo album together and put a solo band together, I was going to do it. I wasn't going to just get a bunch of hired guns. I was going to get dudes that I've jammed with, dudes that I trust, dudes that I know would be just as excited about the music as I am, and really try to make something powerful where and such a good time that when you come and see us play, you never know what you're going to get. You never
Yeah.
know what to expect. So in that way, it was very positive. Those are the parallels. The difference really is, well, besides the fact that I'm strapping a stupid ass mask on my face half the time, um, it's such a different world. When people come to see CMFT, it's very, I could go out there and play SpongeBob, which I have, and people lose their minds.
Yeah.
With Slipknot, it's such an amazing culture now. This thing that we've built, that we spent 22 plus years like putting together, um, has really fostered this amazing community. Like this really gnarly music has
Yeah, like
brought people together.
I'm so intrigued by your fan base, like the
Right.
Slipknot fan. So I My dad has worked for Live Nation for the past like 20 years.
Okay. All right.
So
Right on.
like I grew up like kind of being in and around like music in Toronto big time, but I used to waitress at the Molson Amphitheater in Toronto, and Slipknot played there. This was like,
Oh yeah.
oh my, I would have been probably, God, 19, and I'm like 1,000 now.
Right.
So it was a long time ago, but I remember taking like the subway in Toronto, and I like, when you're like working at a venue, you're not even sure like what band's coming in or what's happening. Is it
Right.
like Jimmy
Right.
Buffett or like what's happening? But I remember like getting off the subway and I'm like, wait, what show's happening here tonight? Because like seeing like the Slipknot fans like starting to pile into the amphitheater and they're like
Yeah.
walking off the subways. I'm like, what is happening here? But your fan base is like they're incredible. They're
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they're honestly they're the reason that we're still here. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, there were so many times where being at war with the music industry and being at war with uh, the various streaming services and just it's a very very hard gig to do these days because a lot of the opportunities that we had when we started aren't there anymore. You
Hmm.
know, like the old way is pretty much dead. So you
Yeah.
have to adjust. Now we're lucky enough because we're established. But the newer bands are kind of walking into the Wild West right now, and it's very hard sometimes to make a living. So, through all of
Aren't
the
you so glad you missed that or like were there before all
you
that
know
shit?
it's intriguing to me, like I love the fact that we came out when we did because it was the tail end of the old system, and we were actually kind of trying to be ahead of the curve in a lot of this stuff where we were one of the few bands that had their own website. At the time we were one of the few bands that were offering things electronically online. So we were already looking for the new way, like what was going to be the next phase, the next generation of whatever. But at the same time, that transition happened so quickly that dealing with record labels and whatnot, who only choose to use certain um, language when it comes to contracts and whatnot, and they will find a way to even you out of a way for you to make a little more based on the hard work that you do. So it was hard, man. Like really kind of learning and cutting our teeth in a weird way in a system it wasn't perfect, but it was at least set up in a way where if you were successful, you could make a living at it. And now the pendulum is kind of spun completely back the other way because what people don't realize, the artists don't own their master.
Oh
They
shit.
wrote the song. Yeah, they wrote the song. They own the
Do they end up in like
publishing.
a Taylor Swift situation?
That's exactly it. And this is one of the reasons why it was really smart of her to re-record
Hmm.
these songs because then she owns that master.
Yeah.
The masters of the old stuff are owned by the label, which means they make the incredible lion's share of all the money.
Damn.
And then they're contractually, they don't have to give any really
So you're
to
only
the
really making your money off of touring and merch.
That's exactly it. So it's tough, man, trying to juggle both sides of the coin. And it's not all streaming services because
Mhm.
some streaming services pay more than others. Um, but at the same time, until the legislation that was actually passed 4 years ago gets put through, a lot of newer bands have no way to make a living other than to go out and tour and go and do merch. But how do you do that if nobody's heard your product yet?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's a weird catch 22, and we're kind of grandfathered in. But at the same time, it's like, we're doing everything we can for the newer generation to give them a place to play their music and
Mhm.
put them on a bigger stage.
Yeah.
But how do you capitalize on it at the end of the day? So that's kind of where we're at. It's easy for pop and it's easy for hip hop, um, and especially because they still have so many different radio stations and
Yeah.
whatnot. But there are certain pop radio stations that won't play anything that has guitar on it. And I learned
Oh my.
that.
Really?
I learned that the hard way. Oh yeah, absolutely. They're like, this has guitar on it, has nothing to do with this. Send it over to, and there's so many different weird genre specific
Oh
radio
my
stations that people
god.
don't even realize. That's why when people get mad because they don't hear their favorite songs on the radio, it's because those stations don't have to play them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's such a bummer. Also, like, God, how do you even like stumble upon new music at that point? Like, it's
Right.
hard to
Right.
find stuff. Like, I find myself sometimes, I'm like, God, I feel like I listen to the same like 10 bands over and over when I'm like, okay, how do I find some new stuff? And yeah, without
Right.
having, I mean, who really listens to the radio all that much anymore,
Right. Right.
anyways? But yeah, crazy, interesting. Well, I'm
Right.
glad that you guys got that grandfather deal, and everybody already knows who you are, so you're in a
Yeah.
better
I mean,
spot.
and it took a long time, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the work, and I think that's part of this, like the work was worth it.
Hmm.
And it definitely made us feel um like, no matter what happens to us, um we're going to be okay. We've
Yeah.
established something that even if all of the, like going number one up with the album sales and all that stuff, if that goes away, we can still go out and tour
Yeah.
and make a living. And that's all you really want at the end of the day,
Yeah, a little security,
Right.
certainly. Okay, I would like to jog things back because I usually do a lot of my research on wikipedia.org, and I read on there that you got a lot of your inspiration for Slipknot through the trailer for the movie Halloween. Is this true? And can you
Well,
elaborate?
my my fascination with Slipknot can kind of be traced back to that. It's first of all, it's my favorite movie of all time.
Have you
When I
seen the
was
newest one yet?
I saw the 2018 one. I haven't
Okay.
seen Halloween Kills yet. I
Okay.
haven't seen that one yet. Um, my mom, when I was a kid, took me to see Buck Rogers, which I don't know if you remember that one.
I
It's
don't.
the disco space movie. Basically,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
where everybody's in like satin and weird. And my mom was like, "Well, this is kind of like Star Wars. I'm sure he'll like this,
Star Wars adjacent.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but here's the thing, like that was the movie that we were going to see. In front of that movie was the trailer for the first Halloween. And I can remember vividly the feeling that I got when I watched that trailer. Like I didn't care about Buck Rogers from Adam. I was like, all I want to do is see that movie, And it took a couple of years before I could even see it because I was so young. I was about 5 at the
Yeah.
time when it came out, but I was mesmerized by it and just the vision of Michael Myers, very stark, quiet, very imposing. Didn't have to do anything, didn't have to say anything, and just the fact that that mask was just so dead, it
Haunting, yeah.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you saw that in real life at the end of an alley,
Absolutely not.
I mean,
Nope.
I can handle myself, but nope, I'm gone.
Yeah.
So,
No, absolutely not. Though I will say definitely brought fashion to the forefront in the sense that everybody loves a good utility suit these days, but
oh,
still,
absolutely. Oh, yeah. Come on. I'm not going to hate on a onesie.
come
It's
on,
great stuff,
right?
but I can't take credit for what Slipknot started doing at the time because I joined 2 years later.
Mhm.
Stone Sour was actually a band before Slipknot happened. So when they asked me to join, I actually left Stone Sour to join Slipknot. And when I joined, the mentality I remember finding myself being fascinated by was, I don't know if it was intimidation, but it was definitely the wonder that comes with the unknown. I mean, because we were never truly violent except to ourselves, like we were always messing with each other on stage. We were always, I mean, we have the famous thing, the flip for the punch in the face, where we flip a quarter and, whoever lost the day, they got, smacked, we used to set ourselves on fire. We would find the tallest things that we could find and jump off that. I mean, Sid to this day has to walk with a cane because he's done so. Yeah. I mean, we were ECW for
Yeah.
metal. I
Yes,
mean, that's what we
EC-dub,
were.
babe.
So for us, it was about, there was a hint, there was a lot of art to it. There was a lot of passion. there was a lot of mystery. And essentially what we were trying to do was build something that scared people, fascinated people, that people could also respond to and relate to in a weird way. That's
Yeah.
why my lyrics have never been campy. They've never been overtly, horror themed or anything like that. It was always more about the art than it was about the arson. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
more about the spectacle than it was about trying to become a caricature. Like
sure.
there's a very fine line. So
Yeah,
and for us, and I think that's why people responded to it, because there was a truth to it in a crazy way. So my truth, because everybody else was so animated and so very good at what they were doing, my truth became using the mask to show that side of me that doesn't really necessarily get a chance to show itself, because I'm a pretty garrulous, guy. Like, I'm pretty upbeat. I like hanging out, like talking shit.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but there's also a side of me that deals with issues that I grew up with, the
sure.
issues, things that I've had to go through. And this gave me a vehicle for that. So I kind of tied back to seeing Michael Myers in those shots, and the fact that he wasn't overtly violent. He would just come towards you with a purpose. He would come towards you with a mission. And that's how I responded. So it was very much bursts of energy,
Mhm.
kind of going from a cold stop into boom, flashpoint.
Yeah.
So that's the inspiration I took from that. And it wasn't even the movie itself, it was just that trailer, because there's just so much. It's almost the inactivity in that trailer that I was
Sure.
fascinated by.
To me, that's always the best thing in horror movies, anything that has to do with scaring the crap out of you. I love the stuff when you're left with your own imagination.
Right.
And that's what it is. It's
Exactly.
those pauses and letting yourself I hate when I'm watching something and you actually do get the payoff of seeing
Right.
the goblin or whatever. I'm like, no, I want my mind to imagine what it is, because that's always
Right.
sort
Right.
of the better payoff. Um, but yeah, no, I get that 100%. So
Yeah.
that leads me into talking about Bad Candy. What a
Right.
movie. Oh my
Right.
God. How much fun did you have doing Bad Candy?
Oh, dude, I had a blast. I mean, it was literally 2 days. I was only
Oh,
there for two
great.
days. Yeah, I flew in, flew out. Me and Zach just hanging out, having a blast. Like throwing weird gremlins zingers at
Yeah,
him. Like
yeah.
everyone was so we just hit it off really quick, man, and we worked really well together. Um, I believe I was a last minute replacement for somebody,
Oh.
but I was also on a very short list of people that they actually wanted. Um,
See,
so to be
I
able to come
assumed you
in,
just would say "Hey, I'm Corey Taylor. I want to be a part of this movie," and then you're just plot brought in there.
no, no, I very rarely do I even go and test for anything. Like I'll just get hit up. They're like, and because of my schedule, it's usually just a small part of whatever.
Yeah.
Because when I did Fear Clinic, that was 2 weeks, and that was like the most I'd ever really fleshed out a character, period. And I
Mhm.
just pretended to be one of my mom's ex-boyfriends from the 80s. That
Ah,
was all I really needed.
uh-huh.
Um, but with Bad Candy, it was easy because I had a radio show.
Yeah.
I had my show that I had on Apple Music, and it was very much just finding the beats and kind of tapping into the timbre that goes into, hey, this is Chili Billy coming at you, just kind of hamming that up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just having fun with it. And the whole crew, because it was essentially just me and Zach. Like everybody else had already shot their stuff, so we were
Because the
really
rest
the
of it is
bookend.
all very elaborate. I feel like
Yeah,
the rest of it must have taken forever to shoot. There's so much going on.
they had shot all of that before he and I even showed up. So
Wow.
what they did was they just so that way they could spend 2 days just shooting us and tying all of the stories together.
Yeah.
Which was great because then we realized, and they were showing us stuff that they already shot, so we could react and I could talk about these things in a way where I could really see it, and that helped so much, and they let us kind of riff on each other as well, and they
That's the
left a lot
best.
of that stuff in there. And that's what I love, is just finding, to me, acting is just getting to hang out with somebody and pretend you're somebody else. I mean,
Yes.
that's really it for me. Like, I'm not trying to win any awards or anything. I'm just having fun.
I love that. Okay, because we are getting close to All Hallows Eve, your favorite Halloween movies, favorite scary
Well,
movies.
obviously the aforementioned Halloween, the 78, Halloween 78. Um, Sticking with John Carpenter, The Thing.
I just watched that for the
Oh,
first time yesterday. I
and
had never seen it. It's what a chef's kiss.
it absolutely holds up.
Yes.
And the fact that it was absolutely trounced by the critics when it first came out, like,
Mhm.
it was, they butchered it. And it didn't do great at the box office. It then went on to just crush in rentals. That's
Yeah.
how it became big.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Good.
it
Kurt Russell should
takes
get paid. Love that
Oh,
guy.
he is, I mean,
The best.
McCready is kind of like my spirit animal. Like, I could do a whole podcast to just about how I identify with different Kurt Russell, characters, from like
Yeah.
him, Snake Plissken. I wanted to be Snake Plissken so bad when I was a kid that I ran around in an eye patch like an idiot. That's the kind of person you're talking to right
I
now.
love that. You could do a whole one-man show just based on Kurt Russell characters. That would be
He's getting the Kurt
fantastic.
Russell
Yes.
wig, just the pseudo mullet, and I could kill. It'd be great.
100%. What a charming man. Him and Goldie Hawn, they've really unlocked something. They're
And how
spectacular.
rad is it that they're still together?
The
That just
best.
gives me hope for the
Me
future.
Me too. I always think that I'm like, man, they're really pulling it off. I
Right,
also love that he just does not give a shit to be in the public eye. He thinks
right.
everything's ridiculous. Like they just
Yeah,
want to like live in, Sundance, wherever the hell they happen to
he
bounce
he
around to.
keeps getting work. So, I
Yeah,
mean, he's got to be
he's
doing
doing
something
it.
right,
He's doing it. Okay, so
Um,
Halloween, The
uh,
Thing.
Halloween, The Thing, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Mhm.
It was probably one of my all-time favorite movies because it's so crazy in the beginning and yet goes absolutely batshit towards the end. You're just
Yeah,
like,
hard turns.
it's so, I saw that like 6 times in the theater. Like, it was just so rad. I absolutely loved it.
I've not seen that
Um,
one in a long time, actually. I should add that onto my Halloween movie list.
it's so
Add it
worth it
on.
and
It's been
still
a
holds up.
while.
I
Yeah, like I've seen it before, but years and years ago. I
Right, right,
gotta
right,
have a
right.
little revisit.
Um, let's see. Ugh. It's
It's
weird
hard. There's
because
so
I
many.
keep cutting up horror into different genres as well, because
Right.
there's like sci-fi horror, there's gore horror,
Uh-huh.
there's supernatural thrillers. I mean, there's like so many different things.
I'm always partial to like I love a good exorcism. I love a
Right,
good demon.
right.
Ghosts. Ghosts are what get me. I like
Oh
that sort of
yeah,
like reality based, like holy shit, this could happen
right,
scenario.
right.
That's where I like to
Which
live.
leads me to number 4, Hereditary.
Ah, great.
That movie
Spectacular.
that movie affected me so bad I can't watch it again. Like,
Yes.
that's how, because my wife and I, me and Alicia, we were laying in bed and she goes, "Have you seen Hereditary yet?" I was like, "No, let's watch it right now." And we put it on. I don't think we were prepared for what we were about to deal with. Cause I mean, we're seriously laying in the bed, like, it was so off-putting, dude, that to this day, I think about it, and just Toni Collette's eyes
She's
can just
oh
make
my
me just
god.
like
She's
that. You know the scene
incredible.
I'm talking
Yep.
about.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
ooh, oh, so bad.
Toni Collette's fantastic.
She
Um,
is one of the best actors I've
yeah.
ever seen. Like, it's criminal that she doesn't have more awards, man.
She is one of those actresses that no matter what she's in, I'll watch it. She has like
Right.
that star
I'm the
power
same
of
way.
like anything she's
Absolutely.
in, I'm in. I will watch it 100%.
The fact that she can
Hereditary
go
is
from
like
that to Knives Out. I mean,
yes.
It's which
Yeah,
is
or like,
another one of my favorite movies. It's so good.
did you ever watch United States of Terra?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Ah, so
Oh,
great.
so rad.
That show's underrated too. I don't think that show got its flowers. That show
Very, very. No,
and with Al, not Al, Brie Larson as
yeah,
well
yeah.
in that.
So good.
You
Yeah.
know,
Like
Brie
I mean
Larson
that's
went broke after that.
really?
Yeah, I was just listening to a podcast she did where she was doing United States of Terra, and then she didn't work again for a really long time after that, and she like couldn't pay for her food at Ralph's and shit.
Oh wow.
I know, isn't that
I did
crazy?
not realize that.
The
That's
ebbs and
crazy.
flows of careers.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so now what else? What else you got?
Okay. Are we just doing five? What do you want? What do you want? What do
Whatever
you
you want. You tell when you've had enough.
want? Okay.
Let's give me one or two more.
Okay. Aliens,
Mm-hmm.
the second one. Even though the first one is more of a slow burner, it's more of like a serial killer one.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, because I saw that one before I saw the original, it just it's so good and it's so fast that for a kid who loved horror but then also loved, spaceships and phaser guns and all that crazy crap, I was like, you had me at monsters. I mean,
Yeah.
let's do this, and it's the far superior movie in the fleet.
Sure.
And I don't watch anything past it. Like I go to 1 and 2, and then
Done.
those other ones don't exist. In fact, I don't even know what you're talking about. There are no other
That's
Alien
it.
movies.
One
Not
and
at all.
two. One and done.
Right,
Done
exactly.
and done.
So yeah, so Aliens. Let me think. What? If you want to talk about horror comedy,
Okay, sure.
Hot Fuzz
Oh,
is
yes.
so good.
Hot
So
Fuzz. I
funny.
forgot about Hot Fuzz. I think
And
that's
and people don't realize that it's a slasher movie. Like
right.
it's a proper slasher movie, man. Like
Right.
people's heads are exploding. It's it's insane. I'm like, this is amazing. How is this not the greatest movie of all time?
I feel like it did like some underground cult movement kind of shit. I feel like
Oh,
people that know that movie like love that movie.
absolutely.
For sure,
Yeah.
for
I
sure.
mean, and it's like World's End is a little more of a horror thing because of the aliens thing, but Hot Fuzz is so well written. Like the jokes are so funny, the casting is great,
Yeah.
and that Simon Pegg is an action hero. I'll take that all day.
Yeah.
All day. I'm here for it.
Okay, so you are a man that has seen some things, done some things, you've toured the world. Have you ever seen a ghost?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, tell me about it.
Oh dude, I wrote a whole book about it. My
Okay, I missed this was just
That's
didn't
okay.
pop
That's
up on
okay. It's
Wikipedia.
my second book. A funny thing happened on the way to heaven is all about my experiences with the supernatural. And me, essentially, I wrote the book trying to make peace with the fact that I'm a very clear atheist, and yet I've experienced things that I can't understand. So it's me shooting at it honestly from a very scientific point of view and trying to
Interesting.
understand the energy of the soul and how that can imprint onto our memories and when we pass in a certain way, or if it's just because we pass, those memories imprint themselves onto the soul and that becomes what it's a whole thing. I mean, I'm paraphrasing right now, and I
I'm
really
Amazon
can't hear.
priming this as soon as we get off this Zoom.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I'm in.
I mean, aside from the fact that I suck at writing, it's actually a pretty good book. So
Oh, I can't wait.
but yeah, I mean, I've for a long time, I had a lot of experiences with just things that I couldn't understand. I'd seen things, I experienced things. Um, and and I think it was because these things were attracted to the energy that I have,
Mm.
and which is something else I talk about in the book is the incredible attraction that certain energies have towards each other, and they try to bundle together, and that's one of the reasons why maybe sometimes houses aren't haunted, but people are.
So that's my fear. This is my fear
Okay.
because so John and I just bought a house in Cincinnati.
Okay.
It is built in 1880. old as
Ooh,
shit.
tell me
So
more.
I did not know that Cincinnati is apparently like a mega haunted town. I had
Right,
no idea because it's so old. There's so much history there. So I love this stuff. I love reading about ghost things. I love a good ghost tour.
right, right,
I lean in.
right, right.
John backs the out. He hates it.
Oh,
Hates it. So as we're like this is all brand new of us like getting this house and whatnot, but he was like, if that house is haunted, we're leaving. He's like, but you bring that on. He thinks I bring the ghost on because I'm interested in it. And I'm like,
he might not be
shit.
wrong though. I
I
mean, that's
know.
the thing.
Yes, I know he might not be wrong. What do I
Right,
have to like
right.
sage myself? What do I do?
You know what it is? I've experienced this myself because I I kind of closed myself off to it after a while because so much weirdness was happening in my
Like
life.
what? What was like what was some of the weirdness?
Well, there were just a lot of things. A lot of things were starting to freak out my kids. I mean, it was very physical. Like, there was one time I came home from tour,
Was this in Las
and
Vegas?
no, this was actually my old house in Iowa.
Okay, thank God.
Um, and these spirits that I'm talking about, I believe, attached themselves to me from the house that I had lived in before that house, which was built in 1905. And many people had been in and out of the house. So by the time I bought it, it was actually already 100 years old. So there
Wow.
were many generations of things going on at the time. But there were a ton of gnarly things going on in that house. And then when I went to the other house, these three younger spirits, uh, I think, attached themselves to me and followed me because I was a father, because of that energy that I carry with myself.
Ah.
And they liked the fact that I was very protective. Um, but then they would act up a lot, especially if I'd been gone for a while. I would come home and I'd be the only one in the house. And I would go up into my son's room when he would be at his mom's house, and all of his books would be stacked in the middle of his room.
Shut up.
I would put them back. I would go back downstairs, and I swear to you, within 10 minutes, I would come back up and they would be there again. And
Oh
that's
my
just
God.
one little thing. Like, it was, yeah. Some friends of mine came over to that same house when I wasn't there. I was gone on tour, but they thought I was home and nobody else was in the house. They came over, the light was on, which it wasn't when I left.
Yeah.
The lights were on, which is one of the reasons why they stopped. And my house was a split level. So through the front door, you had windows on each side, like long rectangular windows on each side of the door.
Mhm.
And then through that, you could see the staircase, which was directly behind the door. So you couldn't see it unless you kind of did this, you know? Staircase went up to the second floor, and you could be, because it was a split level, there was a little bit of a gap between the ceiling in the staircase and the last stair. And then through that was the second floor, basically.
Okay.
So they're ringing the doorbell and ringing the doorbell, and they can hear footsteps inside. And they said that they went to the side to see if they could see anyone and get somebody's attention because we didn't have curtains there at the time. And they saw patent leather shoes run, small patent leather shoes run in that gap like children's feet.
Oh my
And they
God.
called me and they said, "Hey, are you home? It looks like there's people inside." And I said, "What are you talking about?" Like, I was in Europe at the time, like, and there was nobody else at my house.
Oh
So
my.
that's, yeah, but because that was going on, it was actually encouraging more chaotic energy around me,
Right. Because
like,
it was like
and not
kind of
only
getting
that,
attention too.
right, exactly. And not only that, but there was real tumultuous, toxic things going on in my life from my
Mhm.
previous relationship.
Mhm.
And that was stirring up, and it was there was a lot going on. So when I left that relationship, I really made a conscious effort to clean up all of my energy, because of the way I would react when I would think about that person, or think about all the other people that were in her life. Um, and I think because that happened, it deadened a lot of the energy that I would put out. Um, and slowly but I spent less time at the Iowa house because I was living in Vegas because of my youngest daughter. And I think because of that, slowly but surely, they either attached themselves to somebody else or they dissipated, because there was nothing to re-energize
Right. They
their.
couldn't charge up.
Exactly. So that's, I mean, yeah, that was it. And I think
Oh
because of
my
that,
gosh.
I've had less and less real encounters. And it's not because I don't want to, it's because I've I have my answers. I have experienced it. And now I don't need to seek it out, you know. Like
Mhm.
when it happens, I embrace it. I'm like, okay, but my energy has changed in such a way that I'm not, like, almost unintentionally looking for it and reaching out for it.
Right,
So
right,
yeah, so
right.
it's interesting.
What about, like, on the road? I feel like touring, you must have been in some, like, haunted
Oh,
hotels and, like, seen some stuff in hotels for
oh,
sure. I know,
absolutely.
like, with us
Not
being on
only
the road with
hotels,
WW, we have seen, yeah, it's creepy as all hell.
not only hotels, but venues.
Oh, yes! Which venues for you?
So the one that really jumps out is a place in Milwaukee called the Eagles Ballroom. It's actually three. It's actually three venues. There's a lower level, there's a middle level, and then the Eagles Ballroom is at the very top. And that building, it's been around for about, I want to say 80, 90 years, something like that. It was purportedly, I don't know, it's like,
Good
and
word.
this is going off of what the locals have told me. It was purportedly a gentleman's club, but not like a gentleman's club, like
You
the
found
old
some
school
ghost
version.
strippers? Hell
No,
yeah.
it
Oh,
was the old definition of a gentleman's club. It was like
okay.
a, so more like lounges
Like
and like,
cigar room
yeah,
kinda
kind of like a
thing?
YMCA, an exclusive, something like
Got
that.
it, got it. Okay.
However, the the clientele was almost exclusively Nazi sympathizers
Oh,
before the war.
jeez.
Now, when that happened, after the war, it changed hands a number of times and was still a call it a health club. But then for about 10 years, it closed down. That was bought and renovated to become this three-tiered venue,
Mhm.
basically. And the backstage is set up in such a weird way that the dressing rooms for each club are actually a floor down, which is really
Oh,
weird. So
okay. I
the
get
dressing
that.
rooms to the top floor is on the second floor, which is actually directly behind the stage of the second floor venue. But the dressing rooms for that one are downstairs. Yeah,
A lot of
it's so
extra
weird.
stairs. A lot of extra stairs before a set.
Oh, you get your steps in. Let's put it that way. I mean,
Yeah.
all hail the mighty Fitbit. You
Hell
get your
yes.
steps in.
Get those 10K steps.
We were there getting ready to play. This was with Stone Sour. And I've had many different instances of things that have happened there. Like I saw kids. There's a dead pool in there, that is right next to the smaller club that used to actually be the bowling alley.
Okay.
So they're weird, like there's just standing water in there from God knows how long.
Oh,
Bowling pins, like all kinds of weird stuff. Like the energy around the place is completely sick. And to get to the stage, to go onto the stage in that smaller club, you have to walk through the pool. And I did one of my first spoken word tours in there. And while I was walking through, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a young girl dressed in white. And I turned around and she was gone like that. But I know I saw her because I saw her in the mirror as well. And I
oh.
saw her and then I saw her and then I turned around, gone like that.
It seems like it's
But
mostly kids with you.
it's yeah, I don't know what it is, but
That
here's
dad
the
energy.
kicker.
Okay.
I was standing. This was another time, and we were getting ready to play the big place, the Eagles Ballroom. This was with
Mhm.
Stone Sour. I'm standing there. I'm talking to our bass player Johnny Chow, and he didn't believe in any of that stuff. You know, it's not that he was a skeptic. He just like he had never experienced anything like that. We were standing at the top of some stairs. You go down these stairs, and then there's double doors that go into our dressing room area, right? Those double doors are stuck in place with door stops, you know, the wedges, wedged, hardcore wedged in there, right? No way that wind is going to blow them shut. I think you see where this is going.
Yeah.
I was standing there talking to him, and there was a gentleman who was our security for the venue, sitting right next to us in a folding chair, and he's listening out of the corner of his ear, and he's nodding and whatever. And we get to the end of the conversation, and we turn to this gentleman. We're talking to him, and all of a sudden, boom! Both doors slam shut against the wedges. And I mean, so quick that we flew around. Like, I mean, we spun and we were like,
Oh my God.
and even the security guard was like, I've never seen that happen here before. Like, it wasn't because I mean, we even checked to see if sometimes if the floor is uneven, those
Sure.
wedges will slowly start to work themselves out.
Okay.
Now, bone flat, I mean, you could see where the force had left marks where the wedges were in the floor.
Hell no.
Yeah, it was gnarly.
Oh my
And
God.
now Chow is
He's a
pretty much a
believer.
believer. He's like, all right, dog, I'm into this. Yeah. I was like, there
That's
you go.
crazy. Okay, so do you have any suggestions to cleanse a house coming into it? What do you
I
do? Do
mean,
I
you
steam
can,
it? Do I like
you
what
know, a
do I
lot of
do?
people talk about sage and whatnot, and more sage, I think, is more for your energy than it is about the house.
Okay.
However, as as your energy changes because you believe you are using that in that way,
Uh-huh.
you know what I'm saying? I think that contributes to the fact that you are spreading positive energy
Okay.
to that
Okay. Okay.
place.
I like that. That makes sense.
I don't necessarily know if but you could do that with anything really, you know? I mean,
Sure.
you could walk around with one of those 70s conical incense things that
I have some. We
always
could do it.
smelled like a clove cigarette. Just be like,
Yeah.
all right, I bless this house. I know
Yeah.
it's smelly, but
Yeah.
you know.
Oh my God. I really hope that I'm not the one bringing the energy, but I think John might be right. And I feel like you've just confirmed it.
But here's the thing. Changing changing that doesn't mean that you lose the sensitivity. It just means that you're you're stopping the invitation, you know?
Well, I
Because
kind of feel like because so our house in Vegas, I've never worried about it or thought about it because I just don't get that vibe from this house. I don't get
right,
that about
right,
this city. It just doesn't really have that vibe to it.
right.
And our house is not all that old. It's built in 97, which I guess all things considered, not that young, but in my mind, 97 was not that long ago.
No,
Um
hey, I back you. It wasn't.
it
It was
was
not
not.
that long ago.
But to think of a house from 1880 and in this city that is now apparently one of the most haunted places in America, I had no idea what I was walking into. So
Yeah.
I might have to write something in on the agreement for this house somewhere of like,
Yeah,
can you guys just update the HVAC and get rid of any of this? Also, could you have the house blessed? Thank you so much. We'll be
there you
closing
go.
in.
I don't see anybody questioning your motives
Yeah,
on that
I
one.
think it'll be fine.
Absolutely.
Okay, so as a new parent and you've got kids, how do
Mhm.
you strike the balance between did you always let your kids kind of look in and be a part of the Slipknot world, or do you
Oh,
protect
yeah.
them? You do. Okay,
Yeah,
because that's sort of
absolutely.
how
Yeah.
I feel about it. I mean, in terms of, watching John do his matches and have like random insane death matches and whatnot. People are like, is your kid gonna watch that? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of think she is. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
feel
no,
the need
it's
to.
always my kids realize that what we do is entertainment, and the cool thing about my kids is that they're all three of them are musically inclined. Like they all, like even my oldest daughter, who I didn't have a strong relationship with because I was only in her life after she was about 11.
Mhm.
Her and my mom, or her mom and I split up. We were super young, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So, as time went on, though, I came to be in her life and realized that she was a really good singer and just really, really, really good. And then Griff, my son, has just, his first band has just put out, their first single,
Yeah.
and they're getting ready to, after Knotfest LA, they're going to do their first co-headlining little club tour, man. So they're stoked for
Oh,
that, which is
awesome.
great. And my daughter is very, very musical, and she has started singing along to like the Sailor Moon theme and like all these like really cool, she's really pitch perfect, real, and
Oh,
that's
that's
scary. I'm
awesome.
just like, oh man. So music has always been in our lives because I'm constantly like, if I'm at home, I'm playing piano or I'm playing guitar and whatever. So
Mhm.
it just permeates everything we do. My wife, her dance troupe, they work with different types of music, and it can go to anything from the just dancing period to the firework that they do, the aerial that they do,
Yeah.
all of the stuff that they incorporate into their show is all set to music. So music kind of rules everything that we do.
Oh, I love
And
that.
for the kids, that's what they equate it to. Like when Ryan, my daughter, hears Slipknot, she doesn't think about the crazy stuff. She just said, "That's Daddy's angry song." And that's
Yeah.
Daddy's angry song. And she's like, "Daddy, don't play the angry song. Play the lovey song." Like, and that's how So to them, they realize that especially my son, because his band is just as heavy. He realizes that it's about the emotion behind it, not the perceived violence that people
Yeah.
think fuels it,
Right.
and that's kind of the same way with wrestling as well. Like there's a perceived violence of it, but at the same time, it's ballet. It's
Yes,
it's a
there's
show. It's
art
entertainment.
form to
It's
it.
There's so much that goes into putting on a good match
Yeah.
that I think people try to dumb it down in their heads because they don't understand it, and then they realize that it takes years of
Oh my
work.
God. And that's what
And
just lends itself to all these Twitter arguments and people
oh yeah,
online wanting to talk about whatever. But it's true. It's like there's so many layers to it. And, from my time in WWE and even getting to do a commentary and understanding like layers of
right,
matches and layers of characters and the
right,
timing of things, like there's just so much more to it that it's not just like, give me a quick little study note and I'm going to figure it all out. It's like, oh,
right, right,
hell no. There's just
yeah,
so much more to it. So I'm really excited to see how my daughter reacts to it when she starts to like understand it more.
right, right,
Been
right. Just
around it
tell,
a
just
little
tell
bit.
her that it's like, look, if you like a good scary movie, it's not real,
Mhm.
but it elicits a certain emotion out of you,
Yeah.
makes you root for the hero, and that's
Yeah.
all. That's all that is. So there you go.
Okay, so you're a huge wrestling fan. Where did
Yes.
this all start for you? Who are your guys? What are your
Oh man.
moments?
I mean, as far back as I can remember, I was always watching wrestling. The great thing is living in Iowa.
Does that mean you have to be like a Seth Rollins guy or got that Des
No,
Moines
not really.
connection?
He's from Davenport.
Or
I'm
from
I'm D
Davenport,
town.
yeah.
It's fine. It's all
Right,
good.
right, right. Quad
um,
City situation, right?
I was I mean, good for him, man. Anybody who's doing anything from Iowa, I high five. Like I always, if anytime I hear somebody came from Iowa, I go, "Oh, you got paroled, did you? Good to see you got out of there." It
Yeah,
was a tough place to get out of for a while because it's kind of the middle of nowhere, you
yeah.
know. But the cool thing when I was younger was that cable was kind of in its infancy, so there were a lot of rogue channels going on at the time. So I could see NWA wrestling before it was WCW, obviously on TBS. I could see WWE when it had the F in it, on USA, and a couple of, I think it was on TBS on Saturdays. Yeah, All American Wrestling. Yeah, I think it was that. So I could see those. I could see the big promotions, but then I could also see AWA that was going on in Minnesota because they came in on local or not a local access, but a different cable channel. And then I saw World Class because they came out and they were broadcast out of Dallas on a wholly other channel that was going on. So all of these other, I was able to watch. I knew who the Freebirds were before I really knew who Hulk Hogan was, to be
Wow.
honest. Yeah, I mean, so I grew up loving wrestling. You know, I grew up thinking that wrestlers only wrestled in two places: the small TBS studio or the giant arenas. You know,
Yeah.
to me, it was the difference between a club act and a stadium act. You know,
Sure. Sure.
and I saw them all. I thought Kevin Sullivan was the scariest human I'd ever seen when I was a kid because I watched him try to stab a dude in the ring. And he
Yeah.
was coming at him like, "Yeah." I was like, I saw that in a movie. I was scared the ever living out of me. Like I was like so struck by that it's, yeah, I mean, it was crazy, you know. And to
That's
me,
so
when you're growing
funny.
up, you don't even realize that it's, you know, scripted or whatever, you know, and you're getting into arguments with people. It's not fake, you know, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, and to this day, I get in arguments with people who say that word. And I go, it's not fake because you can't do it. If it were fake,
Totally.
anybody could do it. It's not
Yes.
fake. There's a difference between fake and predetermined. And
Yeah.
sometimes those matches aren't determined beforehand because you never know what the finish is going to be until you get in the ring and somebody gets it together.
Yeah.
So these armchair critics can all kiss my entire white ass because they don't know exactly what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, yeah, everyone wants to be a critic, but there's obviously so much more to it. And it's funny. I mean, I find anytime someone throws out fake towards me, it's
Right.
like
Ugh.
I've got so many, a family, but from like my husband to friends and people they're walking around like their bodies ain't all right. I'm
Yeah.
telling you that
Yeah. There's some
that.
damage there, man. Like you should
Oh my
probably,
God,
yeah.
no doubt. Um, what are you still watching it all today? Do you get to catch much of anything?
Yeah, I try to as much as possible. If I don't see it live, I catch up on it on like YouTube or like
Yeah.
the various like shows or whatever. I tend to like obviously I watch the AEW pay-per-views and whatnot. I still keep up with the WWE and stuff. I mean, and they've been very good to me, you know. I've been able to have my music be included in a lot of their promotions. You know, all those guys have been very, very cool,
Yeah.
obviously, you know, and yeah, so I'm just, you know, I just love that. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan, man. Like
It
it's,
is.
you know, it's the cool thing is that you don't have to have true brand loyalty because if you're watching both, you're loyal to both, you know, like
Totally.
it doesn't matter anymore.
There does
So
not have to be that line in the sand. We can
no, it doesn't.
enjoy everything.
And it makes everything better because
Totally.
everyone is just as competitive as I am, and they're just like, "We're gonna win
Bring
tonight."
it.
Yeah,
Bring it.
exactly.
One last thing I want to talk to you about. You've had a career wearing a mask.
Right.
I often wonder because when I watch wrestlers wearing a mask, I'm like, wonder if he's happy that he chose to do that. Now he's got to wear a mask for the rest of his career. Did
Right.
you ever feel that way of like being stuck behind a mask and like, okay, here we go? Like, is it hard to perform that way?
Well, yes, to answer that last one, it's not easy, just from a heat point of view.
Yeah, like it's
Um,
uncomfortable. Got to
yeah.
be uncomfortable as all hell. Shifts around.
It's interesting because I've done different kinds of masks. I've worn the full head masks. I've worn the masks that kind of go right here and they
Hmm.
strap. Um, and I mean there are pros and cons to both of them. That you know it's you just find a way. You know when you believe in what you're doing. It
Hmm.
also helps when the reason why you're wearing them is not just because of the physical. It's because of something emotional, something
Right.
creative, you know?
Which is that's why I mean when I look at like a luchador and there's the whole, never take off a luchador's mask, the
Right,
respect and everything that's kind of ingratiated into a luchador's mask,
right,
that I understand more. It's more someone that doesn't have that background that I'm like, are you happy that you chose that? Because it seems like it's got to be really hard to work with.
right, right, right. But it also comes down to the design. The
Hmm.
design of a mask is really that's going to determine whether or not you can breathe, whether or not you can talk. Because if you look at Mysterio's, his isn't a perfect luchador mask because his mouth is open enough that you can speak, you can see his eyes. When you look at like the Sancho masks and whatnot, and they're very closed off. Sometimes you can barely understand what they're saying.
Uh-huh.
So it all comes down to design, and with us, the practical has to be balanced with the artistic. So I'll have an idea for something and I'll have to make sure that it can be what we call road tough because you can get something out, you can get this little pip out here and it just breaks like that. And you're
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
well, now
You
I
want
only have
durability.
exactly. So it really kind of comes down to uh making sure that your vision is clear, the practicality is clear, and just because we're so stubborn, we refuse to let a mask beat us. Like we're just like, I don't care if it's hot out there, we're going on. I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna bushwhack my way through this goddamn
Yeah.
show.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like I could sit here and talk to you all day, but I know that you're on tour and you're taking time out to chat with me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to order your book right now. And when can people see you on tour and where do people get Bad Candy?
I believe Bad Candy, you can find on almost all the streaming services. I know you can get it on Vudu. So that means you probably get it on Amazon and whatnot. Just
I know I got mine off of Apple, but until
yeah,
then, I'll
yeah,
figure
exactly. You can probably get it on there too. Um, People can see us on the Knotfest Road Show. You can find dates at knotfest.com. I'm fairly certain I have the dates up on my website as well, thecoreytaylor.com. And or just just kind of look on your local newspapers and whatnot. We're usually coming around. So and we're going to be traveling. We're almost done in the East Coast. We're going to be traveling to the South, across the Midwest again, and then back over to our neck of the woods. And
awesome.
yeah,
Well, you better believe that when you get out here, John and I are coming out to a show. So
I would love to have you
that
guys out,
needs
man.
to
It'd be
happen.
rad. Well,
Yeah, I would love
I'll
that.
introduce the wife, man. We'll have a good
Yeah.
time.
Oh, that would be great. It won't be in a Target parking lot this time. We'll get to
But
actually
yeah,
have a little hang.
exactly. Very cool.
All right. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, dude.